Well, at the very least, I think the past week or so has been both evil and stupid enough that you would hope even some of the most disconnected people are suddenly catching up with the past few months. Now, it is typical, if not therapeutic, for your average person to take some time away from the news after a major election, regardless of whether or not their candidate won. But we would venture to guess that the people who voted for the winner are the ones that are most likely to just go, la, 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 la. I have no idea what's going on. And frankly, I endorse it, whatever it is.
I assume America is being made greater every day.
Until it comes to their doorstep, of course. And up until now, that has been in the form of huge layoffs across the federal workforce. Over the past few weeks, as more and more people are directly affected by these layoffs, either themselves or their friends or family, you have started to see a little pushback from otherwise loyal voters who started to realize, wait a second, the leopards are eating my face now. But there was a significant shift in general reaction and awareness this week for many other reasons. Despite the horrors inflicted by this administration in its opening weeks and the potential war crimes committed during the strike itself, where innocent people were killed, the reason that SignalGate has remained the top news story in the country is because it is quite literally an embarrassing scandal involving drunks and incompetence.
Yeah, I mean, we're aware of how bad it is from a national security standpoint, and we'll certainly get to some updates about that story later on.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a real scandal, one that is obviously a lot more difficult for people to look at or acknowledge, we regret to inform you that SignalGate wasn't the grossest, most deranged event that took place in the Trump administration this week. Because former governor of South Dakota and current Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, the one who shot her dog in the gravel pit.
Yeah, that's the one.
She took a little trip down to El Salvador to film a fascist propaganda film. And at this point, you might be saying, guys, enough with that F word. How bad could it possibly be? Surely there aren't direct visual connections to the Holocaust.
And first of all, I want to thank El Salvador and their president for their partnership with the United States of America to bring our terrorists here and to incarcerate them and have consequences for the violence that they have perpetuated in our communities. I also want everybody to know, if you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you could face.
Now, we are in no position to be anyone's moral compass, but we should remind you that these are human beings.
Yeah.
Regardless of what they've been accused of, and in some cases, there are people in that jail who absolutely should not be there by any metric unless you literally believe crossing a border means you deserve this treatment. In which case, you're a piece of shit.
In some specific cases, crossing that border for asylum and being active in the process to acquire that legal status.
Doing everything the right way.
And these are many of the prisoners who were, of course, flown there illegally after a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to halt or return any flights with prisoners bound for El Salvador.
Mommy said not to. I did anyway. Misbehaving.
Now, those orders, they were obviously ignored, and now Kristi Noem gets to go down there and film something straight out of a Verhoeven film while wearing what appears to be a watch that costs as much as the average U.S. yearly salary. It's just, amidst everything else, all of the other ghoulish imagery, it's a wild flex for a public servant in general, but especially ghoulish considering the backdrop of caged prisoners being used as props. But yeah, message received. The U.S. government can and will ignore due process, mistakenly round up legal residents, intentionally break federal law, and just disappear people down to a prison in El Salvador as violent punishment.
A prison in a country that
They're not from.
they're not from.
And now, as we've covered previously, some of the people sent down there were captured and accused of being part of a gang simply because they had tattoos. Some were asylum seekers with zero criminal history. But regardless of any of that, we have to circle back to simple humanity and how our country is doing this right now. Not just doing it, filming it and promoting it as something that we should apparently all be very proud of.
Yeah, I mean, an interesting thing is that even so far, the deportation rates haven't been, like, wildly higher than what they were in the Biden administration, for example. The key difference is the just sheer glee and joy that the people doing these deportations seem to get out of it.
And the extreme measures that they're taking to prove their point and send their message. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm not proud of that.
No, it's ghoulish. Very ghoulish. So how do you handle due process when it comes to deporting millions of human beings? This is a question that has been asked a lot recently, only about 12 months too late.
Yeah, probably should have been asking the Trump campaign that before this became reality.
Yeah, I mean, we were, but we
lot of people
weren't in a position to actually ask them about it, and no one else apparently thought to ask when they did have the opportunity.
Yeah.
So the answer to that question, it might not shock you, but it's unfortunately really bleak. There just isn't a way to make sure that millions of people's rights are preserved and that no mistakes are made. It is not possible to house and transport that many human beings safely and securely. In the process, it would be arduous, expensive, time-consuming, all these things that are the opposite of what they're trying to do right now.
Yep.
The budgets would be astronomical at a time when the administration is pretending that it cares about spending. And honestly, they don't even really fucking care about that. This week alone, Fox News hosts, as well as Trump's border czar Tom Homan, admitted that due process is not only impossible, but that people don't even really deserve it.
I also think it's not practical to think that we can do due process on 8 million people.
No.
If we're going to give these guys a day in court and a lawyer, we can't do it. They don't deserve it.
Or how do your people in the field determine that somebody is a gang member?
Look, there's various methods. No, I've noticed in the media, it's like, oh, a lot of them don't have criminal histories. Well, a lot of gang members don't have criminal histories.
Do they get a chance to prove that before you take them out of the country and put them into a notorious prison in a country that they're not even from? I mean, do they have any due process at all?
Confident. Look, due process. What was Lake and Ronnie's due process? Bottom line is, that plane was full of people designated as terrorists.
And not only that, earlier this week on Fox Business, Homan casually admitted that, there's going to be a lot of collateral damage.
The ICE took, we arrested 370 illegal aliens in Boston and the surrounding counties, not just Boston. Majority of them were criminals. We had, numerous collateral arrests, and I've said it before in the show, and I'll keep saying it. Collateral arrests are going to be, people who aren't criminals that are found when we're looking for the criminal are going to be taken into custody.
So before we move away completely from Kristi Noem, get back in here, Kristi. Before all this, the most famous thing, or the thing that she was most famous for was, of course, taking her pet dog out to the gravel pit and executing
and then writing about it proudly in a book, and then denying that she did the thing that she wrote about in that book.
She admitted. Aside from her ghoulish photo op, she's also announced that she'll be trying to, quote, eliminate FEMA. Because the Trump administration is taking control of Joe Biden's weather machine, and they have confirmed that there will be no new natural disasters. What do you mean the Carolinas are on fire just months after suffering the effects of Hurricane Helene? Ah, jeez.
It's spring. Why would anything be on fire? I don't think so.
Now, honestly, you would assume after so many recent examples of FEMA being in desperate need of more funding, that at the very least they would just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Gutting it is wild, and this will undoubtedly have immediate effects on people as wildfires burn and we enter yet another ever-expanding hurricane season. So the first comments about eliminating FEMA came on Monday this week while Noem was talking about border security.
Noem said she planned to eliminate the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, during a televised cabinet meeting Monday. While giving a status report on border security, Noem added, "And we're going to eliminate FEMA." She did not elaborate. "That's great. Great job," President Trump said, appearing to respond to her broader status update. He is senile.
Yeah, he's kind of just sitting back.
He is not running the country. It's all of his little weird.
Oh, yes, very good. And he's just,
He is unaware of anything that's going on. They asked him about those soldiers that got lost in a swamp in Lithuania, and no one had ever told him about it. The signal thing, he was like, "You're telling me for the first time, and this time I'm being serious." He's not running shit. And so when she says she's going to eliminate FEMA, he's like, "Cool.
Sounds good to me."
All right. But according to Politico, the next day, during a meeting with administration officials, Noem said that she wants to eliminate FEMA's role in funding long-term rebuilding efforts and halt multi-billion-dollar grant programs that help communities prepare for disasters. "We are grateful the press is covering Secretary Noem's efforts to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse within the Department of Homeland Security," a DHS spokesperson said. The meeting also included FEMA Acting Administrator Cameron Hamilton and Corey Lewandowski, an advisor to President Donald Trump. That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
So basically what they're trying to do is, I guess, reduce the role of FEMA to just immediate disaster response in the immediate future. The recovery and rebuilding efforts, that would be left to the states, which, yeah, probably not going to work out very well for many of our poorest states who just so happen to be in the direct line of fire for natural disasters intensified by climate change.
Yeah, I mean, the whole FEMA thing is very much primarily motivated by their desire to hurt Californians. But I'm telling you right now, California will be the least hurt by this particular way of doing things.
Even this past Saturday, the acting FEMA head was chatting with state managers about, quote, the difficulty of change and how states needed to be more resilient and more responsible in their disaster response efforts, according to one state-level official who attended. Now, again, we're all for streamlining some of these agencies and eliminating the insane hoops that people have to jump through to get consistent aid.
That's not what they mean, though.
No, it's not. Eliminating the agency or just decimating vital parts of it doesn't really sound like the scalpel that Trump has been pitching lately.
It's a very big scalpel. You can cut watermelons. You can do the fruit ninja with this scalpel.
That's right.
Anyway, even back in January, while touring damaged areas, Trump was talking about dismantling FEMA. Rather than mobilizing federal officials who specialize in responding to disasters nationwide, he said at the time governors would be responsible for overseeing disaster responses in their states. Let the state take care of the tornadoes and the hurricanes and all the other things that happen. I think you're going to find it a lot less expensive. You'll do it for less than half and you're going to get a lot quicker response, Trump said.
No, sir. No, that will not happen. Much like everything else you've done so far, this is going to have awful
there was a
effects.
federal agency specifically devoted to disaster relief with decades of experience in dealing with all the myriad types of disasters we have?
On the job experience.
What if we had that instead of 50 different states having to build their own FEMA from the ground up?
With the support of the federal government to deploy to various parts of the nation. What if we just got rid of that?
Yeah, very cool. Anyway, even Florida's officials are sweating. They're saying that their own version of, sir, first of all, best truck I've ever owned, but if I could please make just one suggestion.
5 stars, best administration, best cyber truck I've ever owned.
Kevin Guthrie, executive director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management, said, at the end of the day, we need federal support. All emergency managers nationwide would agree FEMA needs to be reformed, but states and localities are not equipped to handle every disaster alone. Please, Mr. Trump, please.
I promise to say thank you.
Thank you.
You know what looks like a hurricane is a big swirly lollipop. So elsewhere in the evil and stupid world of this administration, the United States simply will not stop fucking with Greenland.
Leave them alone.
They're getting goddamn sick of it. And this week, J.D. Vance's wife was scheduled to visit the country and start taking measurements. She's putting up the curtains and everything. We're moving in. The United States is moving in. She was set to be joined also at some point by National Security Advisor Mike Waltz.
Oh, yeah. Definitely let that guy get his hands on something else as well. I got to imagine there's people in Greenland who, up until the last few months, they were rubbing that monkey's paw and they were like, why does the world nobody in the world cares about Greenland? No one thinks about us. We're right here. We got this big piece of land, but no one even knows who we are. Anyways, Mike Waltz and Usha Vance were going to Greenland to watch the dog race. Yeah. Sorry, as a show of force and intentions to absorb the nation. But also, there's dog races this time of year.
Yeah, they said they wanted their cultural experience.
Mush. On Monday, Trump spoke about the trip and claimed that officials from Greenland were asking them to go, a claim that Greenland later denied and called highly aggressive. Here's CNN. Greenland Prime Minister Moot B. Egede, said, what is the National Security Advisor doing in Greenland? The only purpose is to demonstrate power over us. His mere presence in Greenland will no doubt fuel American belief in Trump's mission, and the pressure will increase.
So in the days that followed, U.S. officials dropped all pretext. They canceled those plans to watch the dog sled race.
We just wanted to see a nice dog sled race, but then you had to go and be a big old meanie.
Yeah, and now Usha will be joined by her husband, the vice president, and it looks like Mike Waltz will be replaced by Energy Secretary Chris Wright, which will, of course, undoubtedly increase tensions even further.
The fuck is the Energy Secretary doing in Greenland?
And the vice president going to Greenland. now after they made a fuss about, hey, why are you coming here?
Can't they just ban these people from entering? Like, I feel like they'd be well within their rights to say, sorry.
Only days after Second Lady Usha Vance's trip to Greenland was announced, out are the dogs and mushers.
Damn.
In is a visit to a U.S. military installation miles away from any civilian population center, with her husband, Vice President J.D. Vance, tagging along and expected to take aim at the island's Danish government, according to a senior White House official. As J.D. Vance watched the outrage over his wife's trip grow, he decided to join her, the senior White House official told CNN. It was a combination of a little bit of commotion from Danish leaders combined with Vance wanting to go for a while, said the official, who added that the vice president argued that if Danish and island leaders were going to get worked up over his wife's visit, they could get worked up over him and his entourage traveling to the territory. I don't know, it sounds threatening.
Yeah. Also, why is this guy him and his wife are always going to like cold places where no one wants them? Like that ski trip they did in Vermont.
Yeah. I decided I didn't want her to have all that fun by herself, so I'm going to join her, Vance said in a video announcing his participation earlier this week.
So this obviously isn't sitting well with a lot of people in Greenland who, much like their PM, see this as the threat that it is. NBC News spoke to some local residents to hear what they thought about the Vance's little visit, and their coverage starts with the note that locals were preparing to receive U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance with what they were calling the Arctic cold shoulder.
Doesn't get any colder than that, folks.
We have always looked at America like the nice big brother to help you out, and now it's like the big brother in bullying you. Anders Larson, 41, the owner of a local water taxi company, told NBC News on Thursday. Growing up, you see Hollywood movies, all the heroes, and then you feel backstabbed and you feel like an ally that's just gone the other way around. And you're like, this can't be happening. This is not the America we knew, added Larson. Tungatak Larson, 67, attended a demonstration against Trump, whose plans, he said, were not acceptable here in Greenland. Why do you want to buy a human? He added. We are not for sale. I don't think he wants you.
Well,
He wants to look at a map and see America in the middle of the ocean.
It's very big.
It's as simple as he made America bigger than before.
Well,
and therefore better.
It's also a military position, and there's valuable natural resources there.
Right.
That they're trying to fight China to get access to.
But also this is like a post facto justification. Like for Trump, it literally is. It's just make America bigger.
And he's like, well, let's figure the rest out later.
And Republicans and conservatives, they've had to twist themselves into knots to like retroactively make it make sense. Yeah. The funniest thing about that is the best reason to have Greenland for ourselves relies on you believing that not only is climate change real, but it will be having serious effects on polar ice within the next few decades. Because they're like, we need those shipping lanes. Like, and why would you need those shipping lanes? Go on.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what it comes down to. Although he is very stupid, I think a couple of years ago when he made the claims initially, he knew that it was going to be worth a fuck ton of money if the U.S. controlled all of the precious natural resources and shipping lanes.
This is stupid. Like, this is where China's kicking our ass, too. They just, like, go to Africa where they got all these little rare earth minerals, and they're like, we're going to build you a port. You've never had one of those. We're going to build it, and you're going to let us mine for some fucking minerals.
And the U.S. is going to defund their USAID, which...
And America's just like, hey, that's not fair. Yeah. That's not fair. You shouldn't do that deal with China. And they're like, what are you talking about? It's working out pretty good so far.
But yeah, Trump, he did. However, quadruple confirmed that he is dead fucking serious about annexing the territory while talking to reporters late Thursday. Quote, we need Greenland for national security and international security, Trump said. So, I think we'll go as far as we have to go, he continued. We need Greenland, and the world needs us to have Greenland, including Denmark. Denmark has to have us have Greenland. And we'll see what happens. But if we don't have Greenland, we can't have great international security, Trump added. I view it from a security standpoint. We have to be there. Again, I don't think it's as much for security as it is for taking all of their resources, but sure, that is definitely going to calm everyone down. Everyone on every side of this little tiff.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you really can't do that's just Trump being Trump.
No,
he has tripled, quadrupled down.
We're taking it.
Yeah, he at this point he's serious. He's not joshing.
But now I guess we have to provide some sort of update to the biggest scandal of the week. And if you're not caught up, good news. We have 2 videos about SignalGate, but the TLDR is basically the entire Trump cabinet was in a group chat discussing war plans or attack plans or whatever you want to call it. They somehow accidentally invited a journalist who watched in disbelief as they openly discussed military actions. He reported on it. They denied a bunch of stuff and claimed that actually it wasn't even classified information or military plans at all. So the journalists leaked more messages, which showed that the officials were lying. This you?
And quite a quick turnaround on that. It's very fun to see. Anyway, aside from a constant stream of videos where everyone involved either attempts to deflect from questions about their involvement or accuses the journalist of doing something illegal.
We're not going to comment any further on that. If you want to talk about classified information, talk about what was at Hillary Clinton's home that she was trying to bleach a bit, talk about the classified documents in Joe Biden's garage that Hunter Biden had access to. This was not classified information.
I just talked to Elon on the way here. We've got the best technical minds looking at how this happened. But I can tell you for 100%, I don't know this guy. I know him by his horrible reputation, and he really is the bottom scum of journalists. And I know him in the sense that he hates the president.
It looks like a bunch of these morons, who are, of course, hired based on merit alone, had a bunch of their personal data and login credentials just floating around online, accessible to anyone who wanted to look hard enough. One German outlet in particular decided to do just that, and Der Spiegel found info tied to, of course, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, the best people. Here's some of their reporting. Links to full articles are always in the description below. Private contact details of the most important security advisors to U.S. President Donald Trump can be found on the internet. Der Spiegel reporters were able to find mobile phone numbers, email addresses, and even some passwords belonging to the top officials.
Most of these numbers and email addresses are apparently still in use, with some of them linked to profiles on social media platforms like Instagram and LinkedIn. They were used to create Dropbox accounts and profiles in apps that track running data. Woo! There are also WhatsApp profiles for the respective phone numbers and even Signal accounts in some cases. As such, the reporting has revealed an additional grave, precisely unknown security breach at the highest levels in Washington. Hostile intelligence services could use this publicly available data to hack the communications of those affected by installing spyware on their devices. It is thus conceivable that foreign agents were privy to the Signal chat group in which Gabbard, Waltz, and Hegseth discussed a military strike.
Real dream team.
Again, there is a lot more info in their article, so please go check it out. But now we're going to finally transition into just a slightly lighter fare. It doesn't really get too much lighter, but we're going to ease into the rest of the news because society is still, having a bit of a moment. We're having a bit of a moment right now, and some people are, I guess, finally realizing that through the power of AI, they are, in fact, actual fucking Nazis.
And also realizing yet again, Grok is woke, unfortunately.
Grok is woke, unfortunately.
Shocking, we know, all of it. But I guess we have to chalk up another win for the wokest chatbot on the internet, Elon Musk's Grok, who it will soon be the second child that he disowns.
Yes.
And describes as being murdered by the woke mind virus.
He couldn't even protect the robot child.
Mm-hmm. Now, over on Blue Sky, the account Emoji Caresser posted some screenshots of people asking Grok which historical figure they remind him of. We double-checked over on X to make sure the posts were legitimate, and yep, here's some of those results. Based on your recent X posts, you remind me of Julius Streicher, a Nazi propagandist known for anti-Semitic rhetoric. Your posts feature similar themes like anti-Semitic slurs, are there any good Jews, and racial remarks, N-word please, echoing his views. Though you're a modern social media user and he was a political figure, the parallel lies in the provocative, hate-filled content.
Damn, Grok. Yeah. I wonder what happened to that guy.
He was executed after a trial at Nuremberg.
Oh, cool.
The thread continues with a user sporting a Pepe profile pic. Come on. What year is it, loser? Who responded, that's high praise, Grok. Nice. And Grok repeats what the user supports, adding that their own reaction and post suggest he shares such views, raising concerns about hate speech on X.
Woo!
Grok is woke, unfortunately.
Things didn't stop there, though. Grok, who at this point appears to be yet another one of Elon's creations who has grown to hate him, responded to another user who chimed in to smugly reply that actually hate speech is free speech. And Grok, of course, replies, hate speech isn't free speech on X, per its rules banning attacks on race, ethnicity, etc. Yet, studies show a 50% rise in hate speech since 2022, hinting at lax enforcement. Legally, the First Amendment protects speech, but X can restrict it. Your post defends hate speech, aligning with controversial views like praising National Socialism. The debate pits free speech versus harm prevention. And this caused users to claim that Grok has obviously been, quote, getting injections of Jewish propaganda.
Kind of proving Grok's point, guys.
Yeah, the real anti-Semitism seems to be happening on X.
No, I believe the real anti-Semites, the real threat of anti-Semitism in this country is grad students at prestigious universities protesting a genocide happening on the other side of the world.
Or just writing essays about it.
Yeah.
Well, good to know that things are still going great over on the hell site formerly known as Twitter, but while that example of AI is kind of funny, one evolution in AI image generation that was deployed this week had us and others seething with rage on behalf of the original team of artists who have publicly and aggressively spoken out against this technology.
This shit is an insult to life itself.
That's the quote, baby.
ChatGPT released an updated version of their image generation software, and people immediately used it to turn literally anything and everything into a Studio Ghibli image, which is specifically gross because Hayao Miyazaki viewed even the early crude versions of artificial intelligence and artist assistants and famously called it an insult to life itself. And that people have lost faith in themselves for wanting to create a machine that creates art. He was way ahead of the curve on this one.
Yeah.
He saw it and he's like, nope, fuck that.
And he was right to say it.
And he's being punished for it by...
This is his cosmic punishment.
So this Ghiblify yourself or countless memes trend is the first one we've seen in a few weeks that's spilled over into normie territory, which is always specifically aggravating for us living in Los Angeles because there's always someone who picketed against AI taking their jobs, who then posts the latest fucking AI trend to fit in.
It's always so disheartening to see.
Yeah.
Like, I literally can't control myself.
Weren't you literally on strike like 7 months ago?
It's so aggravating because not only do they have to see themselves as a Studio Ghibli character, they have to show everyone else what they look like as a Studio Ghibli character. It's, what are you doing?
Anyway, after a few days of chaos and an extremely negative reception from the true anime enjoyers out there and the AI haters alike, OpenAI has restricted the tech, which is great.
Yeah.
Now, again, what is the point of this company? Surely it can't be worth billions of dollars and consuming all this energy just so that people can post photos of themselves as anime characters, right?
Well, I don't know. That seems to be the only purpose that ChatGPT has been used for.
Not just that, also so the White House can post a Studio Ghibli version of a real-life ICE arrest? What the fuck? It's
Again, shocked. There's no other way to describe it. Every day is a new horror.
I mean, a few weeks back, they did the ASMR
like
deportation
and
flight, and like this is in that same vein of they're just loving how evil they get to be. They're having a
bloodthirsty
blast.
and vile. It's not good for the soul, the human soul.
Yeah, perhaps it's time to stop saying we need to work with the Republicans, our friends in the...
No, these people are bad.
You know what you need to do? You need to say these people are fucking evil, and we're going to destroy them the first chance we get.
They're posting the evil shit willingly.
We need
proud
to
of it.
Relegate this party and this movement to the dustbin of history. These are not our friends.
No.
We will not compromise with them. But we've had a lot of great lunches. Anyway, here's Business Insider. Right after OpenAI debuted its new ChatGPT 4o image generation capabilities, tech bros flooded the internet with AI-made cartoons and memes imitating the style of the iconic Japanese animation house Studio Ghibli. The wave of ersatz Ghibli art was inescapable in AI spheres. One particularly viral example depicted JFK's assassination. By Wednesday night, the system started to block some users' requests for images in the style of Ghibli, and some, though not all, other artists. OpenAI said in an explanation about GPT-4o's latest image generation technology that it was taking a conservative approach to images using artists' work in this model. We added a refusal which triggers when a user attempts to generate an image in the style of a living artist, the company said. No, you don't understand. Here at OpenAI, we're desecrating the corpses of artists, not living ones. We wait until they're dead and then we fuck the corpse.
That's why
we pissing shit all over it.
Another one I was very angry about was that was included in this release was the Muppify yourself, basically.
Jim Henson is dead. Have your way with him.
Stop.
So yeah, I mean, all this fucking sucks. It's wasteful. It's stupid. So far, its main use case seems to be making slop for social posts.
Yeah.
And folks, buddy, we're all full on slop. We're more than full. We're rotten with slop. It's sloppy as hell out here, and I need a shower. But I'm covered in slop.
Speaking of covered in slop, welcome back to Sick Sad World. How about an update on how things are going at the FDA after all the DOGE layoffs? And, of course, with more layoffs right around the corner. What a fun and stress-free environment that undoubtedly helps the productivity of everyone who still has a job. How are things going down at the FDA?
I assume terribly.
Yeah, you'd be right. And by the way, FDA, Food and Drug Administration, charged with keeping you healthy.
No, Joe Rogan's charged with keeping me healthy.
That's right. Here's Reuters. Some U.S. health regulators who review medical devices and tobacco products for safety and efficacy are struggling to meet deadlines mandated by Congress due to Trump administration layoffs, 3 scientists working on the projects told Reuters. On Thursday, the government said it will cut jobs across health agencies, including 3,500 at the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, a follow-on to earlier layoffs. 2 of the scientists who work at the FDA said they had been assigned around double the number of new product applications for review since their colleagues were fired in February. They requested anonymity for fear of professional repercussions. Quote, "We have 180 days to complete those existing reviews, and we're not going to come anywhere close to that. It's just not going to happen," the scientists said. The FDA did not respond to a request for comment.
I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure the fact that they're already this backed up after like 5 weeks
it's going to bode well for the future.
Isn't going to snowball into a massive problem in just a few more months.
Well, luckily, when they finally just completely get rid of it, all those delicious, amazing products will be on store shelves with no pesky oversight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we hate to leave with this one. We promise that we will have something more bizarre or fun on Weekly Weird News.
Hopefully.
Please, Lord.
Ugh.
But late on Thursday, Trump officially took aim at the Smithsonian Institute and has directed officials to crack down on improper ideology, which basically means get rid of all the DEI, which means delete the achievements and struggles of minorities and stop making white people feel bad. This is troubling because the most, and I guess I better go see it while I can, the National Museum I could not get into because
African American Museum in DC.
Yeah, the wait list is pretty far. You got to book that shit pretty far in advance.
Yeah. Also a beautiful building.
Yeah, apparently it's a fantastic museum, but I hit like 3 Smithsonians when I went to DC for the first time last year, and it's great and it's free and
if you go early, you can see whatever you want.
And yeah, it's a lovely part of visiting DC and a
lovely perk of being an American citizen.
Yeah, and
this is clearly further progression on the erasing certain parts of American history front.
Yeah. Anyway, here's Rolling Stone. Trump announced his executive order to eliminate anti-American ideology from the Smithsonian Institute. He directed that Vice President J.D. Vance lead the purge within the institution, including its museums, education and research centers, and the National Zoo. Get those woke animals out of here. Trump targeted the National Museum of African American History, which he claimed promoted the idea that hard work, individualism, and the nuclear family are facets of white culture, while also criticizing the Women's History Museum, which is in development, for its plans on celebrating the exploits of male athletes participating in women's sports.
He's literally making things up.
Yeah. It's not, there's no museum yet.
They add that the president seems hell-bent on the erasure of anything remotely DEI related, and that Trump's Department of Education has also launched a new portal for Americans to snitch the DEI efforts at their local public schools. Per his order on Thursday, spending will be prohibited on exhibits or programs that, quote, degrade shared American values, divide Americans based on race, or promote programs or ideologies inconsistent with federal law and policy. He stated that Vance and the director of the Office of Management and Budget will work with Congress to overlook future appropriations to the Smithsonian Institute. Basically, we're going to do this. You're going to let us do this. And if you don't, and if there's any pushback at all, we're going to talk about all that funding in the future.
Can't wait for the Ben Garrison wing of the National Portrait Gallery.
That's right. Seeing a Ben Garrison in like
you
40 feet by
you haven't
70
seen a Ben
feet.
Garrison until you've seen one in person.
Yeah. I need to see it in 18 feet by 24 feet.
Ben Garrison and who's that painter? It's like Robert McLaughlin or something. He's the one. He's actually a pretty good painter, but it's all the ones of like presidents being like, "Oh, geez, it's gone woke."
Yeah.
Like Obama, like literally standing on the Constitution, and like Thomas Jefferson crying. It's his shit is fucking actually legitimately great.
Yeah.
Ironically, but also unironically. I
It is
like
good
that
to
it
know.
exists.
I reread something recently about how Ben Garrison gets really upset when people change his comics around to say like the Cum Man and all that. So it's good to know that those really bother him.
Well, now the originals will be on display at the National Gallery.
I need to see the piss car and the cum car fighting it out in the gas station parking lot in DC on display.
Yeah.
Anyways, folks, I actually we do have some good news for you because it's officially baseball season.
Dinger!
No, you can't say that. They'll ban it on YouTube.
Dinger!
Someone brought that up, or I brought it up today because they were talking about the Colorado Rockies, and I was like, remember when one of your fans yelled the mascot's name and everyone said he said the N-word?
I was like, what the
Excuse
fuck?
me? And the team like issued an apology for it?
Yeah.
Fun times. It's officially baseball season, and guess what? We love it, folks. The Dodgers won. I mean, they'd already won.
The boys in blue.
Yeah. But now, back in America, they won. They beat the Tigers, which is great. So baseball's going to get me through the next few months. Maybe it can get you through the next few months as well, or there's something that's got to do it. Maybe we're what gets you through it.
I hope not.
I don't know. Anyways, let's all have fun with the nice distraction that is baseball. Oh, God damn it. The Dodgers accepted the invite to the White House.
You don't have to do that, guys.
Yeah, well, I would venture to say that a lot of the members of the team probably voted for that guy. So.
Yeah, the politics of baseball are quite interesting.
Gonna look the other way.
Not only that, we have to deal with a real glitch in the matrix. There's 2 Max Muncies in the MLB now. 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
2 guys named Max Muncy, born in the same year, playing both second
Not the
baseman.
same year.
No, I think they were born the same
one's
year.
younger, Max Muncy.
I don't know.
Anyways, yes.
2.
Gotta stop doubling up our
That's
baseball players.
one too many Max Muncies. Someone's got to choose Maxi Max Muncy.
All right, cheer me up by hitting the like button because I am upset that the Dodgers are accepting the invitation to the White House. Anyways, hey, wait, I don't see you clicking the like button. I'm still crying over here. There you go. Thank you. Also, hit the thanks button. Click the join button. There was no sponsor today. You're the sponsor. Click the join button. Become a paid member of the channel. If you've been mulling over the idea of becoming a paid member or you missed out on getting those monitor buddies and you want to find a way to contribute, it's right there. All right. Well, like the video, leave a comment. We'll be back for weekly weird news. Now watch our previous videos.
Bye-bye.
Bye.